For this show, I'm going to be interviewing two people. The first being my grandmother, Angelica Soto, and the second, Richard Mendoza, my father in law. They have completely different experiences growing up in the 1960s. One of them was born in Mexico, the other was born here in Stockton, California. When interviewing my grandmother, I wanted to find out a few things. I wanted to see how she was treated back in the early 60s, early 70s. What was the job market like for her? How was everyday life? And so we're going to delve into some of those things in the segment. Here, take a look.
Can you describe what work and employment was like for Mexicans or for you during those times?
El fil, la pizca de la uva, pizca de ciruela, pizca de manzana, todo en el campo.
So working the fields and um, working with fish, cutting up the
Eso
fish.
fue años después.
But first, the fields.
Sí,
Farm worker.
sí.
Let's talk. It's like you came here in '69. In the '70s, '80s, what was life like for Mexican Americans here in Santa Rosa?
Difícil, era un poco difícil porque en esos tiempos ni siquiera podíamos encontrar una tienda mexicana, productos mexicanos no había. Teníamos que adaptarnos a la comida mexicana, nosotros la transformábamos en mexicana algunas cosas, pero productos mexicanos en sí no había aquí, no.
Was there any racism? Was anything like that? I mean,
Siempre,
aside from Mexican products, what else?
siempre ha habido racismo, pero yo no lo notaba. Y la razón que no lo notaba, porque yo no sabía lengua, no sabía inglés.
Yeah.
Con el tiempo yo fui aprendiendo y fui notando el racismo en la gente.
When you had came here, your experience, were the Mexicans at the time trying to keep their culture from Mexico, or did you see more of a blending and they tried to become more American during this time when you at first got here?
No, había más que trataban de seguir la tradición. Por ejemplo, las fiestas del 16 de septiembre las celebraban con reina y con todo, en salón, con su fiesta, la coronaban la reina. Esa tradición sí la seguían. El resto, no había nada.
So would you say then, would you think a lot of Mexicans started becoming more of like American culture?
Porque en sí nosotros los mexicanos nos sentimos excluidos.
For the second segment, we interview my father-in-law, Richard Mendoza. And for this segment, we kind of find out how it was for the Chicano movement. And we get a totally different view of how it was as a Mexican American to live during the 60s and 70s and 80s. Take a look.
As for me growing up, being Chicano, I faced faced it with teachers in school, trying to encourage me to drop out. I wasn't very good in math, and instead of being encouraged to do better, to do well, I was told, why don't you just drop out by two teachers?
Wow.
It means having equal rights as an American citizen. We all everybody labored to make this country what it is. Everybody pitched in, and I was born in '63. I believe that movement started somewhere in the early '60s by Dolores Huerta and Cesar Chavez, and then also came the guy Corky Gonzalez out of Colorado. So around '73, I was in the third grade, and this is when my eyes were open to it. I had my sister out there, my uncle, my cousins. They were boycotting Gallo wine for Cesar Chavez. And there was a deep pride back in those days. And being a young kid, I just I felt it. I seen it. The pride, the Chicano pride. And the movement, it meant they meant a lot to me because, like I said, it opened up my eyes to what was going on and who I was as an identity, as a Chicano, you could be Mexican American, but being Chicano is a choice, yeah. No, they mostly people who portrayed Mexican Americans on TV were usually Puerto Rican. We had Chico and the Man, Freddie Prince played a Mexican, a Chicano, who was really Puerto Rican. There wasn't really many, where it was kind of played out of reality, kind of stereotyped.
Stereotypes.
Yeah, we like assimilated into the American society, but with the knowledge of being Mexican, and with that pride, because we would hear the Mexican music at our grandparents' house, and the tamales, and, the food, definitely. And we had our own twist from away from the Mexicans from Mexico, like at that time we had Malo, Sapo, El Chicano, groups like that coming out. War played a lot into that too, and into our culture, and kind of created that Chicano culture, made it very rich, and different,
Yeah.
So we weren't like Mexicanos from Mexico.
Yeah.
We weren't white,
Right.
We were Chicano.
You're